Welcome back, everyone. We are here today with our very first official review here on the channel. Yay! We're going to be reviewing the Rogue Prince of Persia. The way that this review is going to work is very simple. I have a list here of different things that I love about the game, and I've got another list of things that I am not loving about the game, and I am going to elaborate and share and ramble all the good details away to you guys here. So without further ado, let's get started. One of the first things I want to talk about with the Rogue Prince of Persia is just how much fun this game is to play. Just by looking at the gameplay, I mean, it looks simple. It's basic platformer running from point A to point B, but it gets more complicated or more exciting because you're running off of walls, you're jumping off of platforms, you're swinging from handles and knocking enemies off of them, and I think it's just safe to say this game is just really fun to play. Everything about it is incredibly engaging, exciting, and memorable as well. I also absolutely love the parkour in this game. It's done very simply. You just hold the left trigger button on your controller, and if you come up against a wall, your character will run on it. He'll swing from it. If you press the X button, you'll jump off of it instead. It's one of those things where it looks more complicated than what it actually is, and that's a huge part of its charm, is that it's just fast, simple, and exciting. I'm also a major fan of the level design in this game. Every level has a very distinct style, song or soundtrack to go along with it, enemies that stand out. Different enemies are present with different weapons that force you to have to think about how you're going to tackle each enemy in each zone differently. Very exciting, and the levels are laid out incredibly well. I'm also a fan of the map that they give you in the game that you can use to basically map out your entire run and decide how exactly you want to get to the end of the game and maybe modify your strategy along the way depending on what different trials and tribulations you encounter along the way. I'm also a huge fan of the upgrade system. It works like any other type of skill tree in a video game, except instead of it being one big skill tree, it's many small skill trees. And you can access any one of them, pretty sure, from the beginning of the game. I might be a little wrong on that, but so far, every skill tree that I've got access to, I think I've got access to like 6 or 7 of them. They're just there for me to put points into or take points out of, and then I can put them into other spots if I would like to try out different builds. Honestly, the way that they have the skill tree system set up in this game allows for a lot of build variety early on in the game because you're not required to have to level up every single tree in order to get to the next one. You just have to have at least 1 point to put into the starting point, which is really nice as well. I'm also a fan of the fact that the game has a story in it. I will say it's not like Hades level in terms of how good it is, but it is interesting enough to keep me coming back and wanting to still read and pay attention to every dialogue and text box that shows up in the game. I am also a big fan of the way that they implemented their difficulty system in the game. The way it works is after you win a run of the game, you unlock certain difficulty modifiers that can potentially make the game more challenging. And depending on just how many difficulty modifiers you have active at a certain time is going to help determine what types of bonuses that you get from completing the run. I'm also a big fan of the run in this game that looks like it's from Devilman Crybaby. I'm pretty sure the Prince of Persia is a Devilman. I brought up earlier that I really liked the difficulty in this game, and another aspect of the difficulty that I enjoy very much are the rewards that you get for upping the difficulty. You can earn rewards that give you either more skill points or different skins from other Ubisoft games to run around in. Another thing I thoroughly enjoy about this game is the way in which it actually shares its story or the way that the story develops. Unlike games like Hades, where the good majority of the story is told in between runs, this game actually has the story unravel while you're in the middle of a run. You will have to take different pathways, unlock different locations in order to progress the story. You're going to have to do multiple runs to uncover the entire story. And the good majority of it is entirely progressed through just simply playing the game and figuring out what you're supposed to do. There's not any currency that you have to give characters, at least not for me so far. Similar, or unlike Hades, how you had to give everybody the nectar or the ambrosia. And this was a nice change of pace. I thoroughly welcomed this, and I hope other games decide to do something like this in the future in terms of like when and how the story decides to develop. Now, I'm not going to spoil these next two things by showing gameplay or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to show anything because I don't want to spoil anything. But the last two things I'll make note of is I am a huge fan of just how many locations there are in the game, and I'm also a huge fan of all the different cool and funny skins that there are in the game, too. All right, and now on to the things that I'm maybe not the biggest fan of. I'm just going to get the biggest and most obvious one out of the way now, and that's just how similar this game really is to Dead Cells. Really and truly, this game at times kind of feels like it's struggling to kind of come up with its own identity. Instead, it's just, it's borrowing heavily from Dead Cells. It's not downright like copying or plagiarizing by any means. I mean, the game does feel different too, or it feels differently enough. But with that being said, it'll be really interesting to see just how the game might evolve over time. It's my hope that over time this game starts to feel less and less like Dead Cells and more like its own unique thing. I have not read too much about what other people think about this game online, so this might be a bit of a hot take. I think I don't like the soundtrack in this game. I don't like how cheesy some of the techno sounds. I mean, there are certain songs that play that sound good. In particular, the Gardens stage has a really beautiful song that sounds very similar, to something like Dead Cells. The good majority of the music in this game is very weird, cheesy sounding techno and like electronic music that, I don't know, maybe I'm just not cultured enough, but it just seemed like a really weird choice to put in the Prince of Persia, personally. Another minor complaint I have with this game is, like I mentioned before, it's nice that there is a story in the game, but the story itself isn't really the most interesting, honestly. It's interesting enough for me to still read through everything, but if I was to accidentally skip something, I don't think I'd care. I also don't think it's a story that I would really spend the time wanting to actually take the time to invest myself into if I ever decided to start up a second profile for some reason. I think that's also worth kind of noting too. Granted, I haven't finished the story, so, if you have finished the story and something really awesome happens and you're like, Yagi, you don't know what the heck you're talking about, then let me know in the comments. But, so far I'm just sharing my thought here. I also really hope that they introduce more unique difficulty rewards in this game as well. That's one area in which I feel the game maybe fell a little flat in. Even though the rewards of getting more skill points and new skins is cool, I would have really liked to see more unique types of rewards, or rather more variety with the reward type. And honestly, it's something that I could end up discovering later on in the game, or it's something that they could end up adding to the game later on. In conclusion, honestly, I really don't have anything to majorly complain about with this game. I recognize it is in, a 1.0 status now. It's been in early access, I want to say anywhere between, the last 1 to 2 years. It's been on my wish list for a while. But anyway, it's out now. Check it out. If it looks like something that would be fun to play, you're probably right. And you know what? Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for joining in.